all is meaningless, says the teacher. Meaningless. Meaningless. What profit is there for a man in all his work for which he toils under the sun? A generation goes, a generation comes, and the earth remains forever. Blowing to the south, turning to the north, the wind goes round, and after all its rounds, it has blown again. All words become weary, and speech comes to an end. But the eye has never seen enough, nor the ear has heard too much. What has happened before will happen again. What has been done before will be done again. There is nothing new under the sun. If they say to you, "See, it's new," know that it has already been centuries earlier. There is no remembrance of the ancient people, and those to come will not be remembered by those who follow them. I set my heart on studying and examining critically all that is done under heaven. I set my heart on comparing wisdom with foolishness and stupidity, and I discovered that this is also chasing the wind. For the wiser you are, the more worries you have, and the more you learn, the more you suffer. I said in my heart, I will try pleasure, taste happiness, but I found that that was useless. Laughter is foolishness. As for pleasure, what good is it? I thought of cheering my body with wine while my heart searched for wisdom. So I gave myself to folly in order to find out what would be good for man to do under the sun throughout his life. I refused myself with nothing that my eyes desired, nor did I deprive my heart of any pleasure. So I gave myself to folly in order to find out what would be good for man to do under the sun throughout his life. I refused myself with nothing that my eyes desired, nor did I deprive my heart of any pleasure. I enjoyed all I undertook, and that was my reward for my work. Then I considered all I had achieved by my work, and all the toil it had entailed, and found that it was all meaningless in chasing the wind. There is no profit under the sun. But then it dawned on me that the same fate overtakes them both. And I thought, well, if the fate of the fool will be mine as well, what did my wisdom profit me? I thought to myself, that too is meaningless. So I hated life, seeing how the wrong in everything that is done under the sun, all is meaningless in chasing the wind. I hated all I had labored for under the sun, and which I must leave to my successor. Who knows whether he will be foolish or wise? Yet he will be master of all I have achieved by my own efforts and wisdom. That too is meaningless. And I began to despair in my heart over all my labor under the sun. For here was a man who toiled in all wisdom, knowledge, and skill, and he must leave all to someone who has not worked for it. This is meaningless, and a great misfortune. What has happened comes again. What is now has already been. God recovers what has gone. I have also seen under the sun, instead of justice, wickedness, and in place of the just, the wicked. I considered also how much oppression there is under the sun, the tears of the oppressed, and no one to console them, the violence of the oppressor, and no one to hold them back. More fortunate are the dead for being dead than the living who have to live, and even more fortunate than both is the one not yet born, who has not seen the abuses under the sun. I saw that all that is done, all what succeeds, results from rivalry with the neighbor. All is meaningless in chasing the wind. Man works to fill his stomach, yet he himself is not satisfied. What is the benefit of wisdom to one overwhelmed by poverty? Has the wise man more than the fool? What the eye sees seems better than what the heart desires. That too is senseless, chasing the wind. Everything has already been evaluated. One knows what man is, that he cannot dispute with the one stronger than himself. Many words, much emptiness. What does it profit? Who knows what is the good way of life for man during the days of his meaningless life which passes like a shadow? Who will let him know what will happen after he is gone? See what I discovered. God made man simple, but they got lost in their many thoughts. So I praise joy, since for man there is no happiness under the sun other than eating, drinking, and taking pleasure in his work throughout the life God gives him under the sun. I have pondered on all this, and now I understood that the just, the wise, and all they do are in the hand of God. The same fate comes to all. This is the evil which corrupts all that is done under the sun. This is why man's heart is full of evil and foolishness during his life, and his end is with the dead. As long as he shares with the living, there is hope, a live dog being better than a dead lion. The living at least know they will die, but the dead know nothing, neither do they await anything. The memory of them has vanished. I saw something else under the sun. The race is not won by the swift, nor the battle by the strong, nor does bread go to the wise, nor riches to the intelligent. Favor is not for the learned, for fortune and misfortune overtakes them all. For man is not aware of his time, just as you do not know how the Spirit pervades the members in the mother's womb, neither will you understand the work of God, Creator of all things. Light is pleasant, and it is good for the eyes to see the sun. If a man lives for many years, let him rejoice in them all, thinking that dark days will be many, and all that comes after will be meaningless.